So this weekend, there's this man in town. His name is Paul Selig. And I had read one of his books years ago. It was called I Am Word. And I literally don't know how it came onto my radar that he was here this weekend to do this workshop at a hotel downtown. I swear to God, I was sitting there yesterday in the workshop going, how did I get here? Like, it's one of those things where I just was meant to be there, but I literally don't remember the connecting of the dots. That may be another issue, but I'm not interested in worrying about that right now. Enjoy it, right? But I'm sitting there, and there's this man who, according to his story, he's 25 years old, and he's standing on the rooftop, and he lives in New York, and it's the, what is it called? The Harmonic Convergence evening. And he says, humbly, God, I'd love to awaken. Can I please awaken? And what I'll talk about a little bit later, but what kind of happened in Eastern terms is that the Kundalini was awakened, and the energy just flowed right up his back and shot out of his head, and he awakened fully to spiritual nature, and he is now clairaudient, able to hear voices and channels and, just beings and that kind of thing. So what he does is he's sitting there, and he's just channeling everything he's hearing to the group of people that are there, and it's very beautiful, and it's very inspired, and I'm listening very deeply, and I'm very into it, and this is what I'm thinking. He's teaching unity. He's teaching unity principles. That's all he was doing. He was doing it. I was like, I could do that. I sort of do. But he's sitting there channeling that there's only God, that there's one power and one presence, and that the nature of this power and presence is good. It is kind, and you're formed and fashioned out of it. You can't not be in it and a part of it. You really trying to find God is like a fish swimming in the ocean looking for water. That's how crazy it is. But if a fish doesn't know that it's swimming in water because it's surrounded with it, and another fish says to the fish, hey, by the way, if you don't have water, you're going to die. And the fish suddenly becomes panicked and starts looking all over to find this thing called water, all the while sitting in the center of it. That's the same thing that we experience. You are immersed in this thing called God, and there is what is called a smaller self, a separated self. Some people like to call it the ego. It's not separate, but when you believe yourself to be separate, you are experiencing that belief. Does that make sense to you? You're not separate. It's like, this is a weird analogy, but it's in my head. Like you're home with your spouse, your mom, your dad, someone that you love is in the house. But you don't know they're there. And they're maybe in another room. And you're looking for them and you say, oh my God, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? They're still in the house. You just don't know it. And so you don't know they're in the other room. You're having all these panic experiences and feelings. Oh my God, I lost them. Where are they? Where are they? And then when you find out, oh, they're right here, you relax, right? That's the same thing with God. There's a part that when it believes it's separate. It's not, but when it believes it, it experiences those beliefs. Exactly what he was channeling. I thought, I knew that. By the way, I love to hear these principles spoken and taught and twisted and flipped from anyone in any way. I am like, tell me a new way to say it. Tell me a new way to experience. So even though I'm saying I knew that, I was loving absolutely every single minute of it. Something else that he kept anchoring home that we do here also, and it really is the name of the first book, I Am Word. You see, in the beginning was the Word. That's what the Bible says. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word created everything else. So the word is powerful. The word is the carving tool. The word, the idea, the word represents not just the spoken, it represents the thought, it represents the feeling, and it represents what is spoken. So the word is a more holistic idea. Does that make sense to you? So don't just think, oh, if I say it, if I don't say it, I'm fine. No, sweet soul. At this level of evolution, if you're thinking it, you still got to do the work. Right? So the word in the beginning was thought combined with feeling, which created expression. You are the word. Breathe that in. You are the word. Let that take you to a deeper level of understanding and a higher experience of consciousness. I am the word. The word created out of itself, and it formed itself into multiple expressions. I am that expression. And inherent in you is the ability to do what the word does. To follow me. The word created you and gave you the power of the word. So very, very simply, very elementary. What you think, what you feel, and what you say is important because the speaking of the word is dense. It's the most dense expression of whatever you're creating. So by the time it's coming out of your mouth, you got to ride it out. Does that make sense to you? If you're thinking it, you're upset, whatever, you can do some work on it. You can pray on it. You can even be in a relationship. You can talk about it in a way that can be helpful and help transmute it. Once it comes out as a curse, as an attack against you or another, well, then you've got to just experience the karmic fallout of that, and that's okay. That's what we're all doing. But the invitation here every single week is we must become conscious creators. We must become deliberate creators. We must take more responsibility with our word. And in the beginning of taking responsibility for that, it feels overwhelming because the first time you look at it, it's like, whoa, this is a mess. This is horrible. Who do I blame for this? Right? And then you go into analysis and therapy and you do lots of work like that to figure out if I can connect the dots. Oh, my mom did this, my dad wasn't there. My grandmother did this to my mom, and then my great-grandmother did this to her, and then my great-grandfather, blah. So you connect all the dots. And you see the whole blueprint, which is fun and interesting, but guess what? Red dot, you're here. You're still here to deal with it. So entertain it for a moment, and if it's interesting and helpful, and ask Spirit, is this helpful? Is it helpful to entertain the origin of this? Or would it be most helpful to just be here now and begin realizing that I have the power of the word to transmute, to transform, to change, and to create differently with the energy? That's ultimately where you're going. Now, if you want to take the long road and go back in time and analyze and pay a bunch of people and do that, and I know therapists, I love you, I've used you, I'll use you again, don't worry. But if you want to go back in time and do all of that and then come around to the moment you're standing in, it's a choice. But today, let's just stand here now and just get interested in what's possible. You know, you can look and go, there's this broken stuff, and there's this really good stuff. And you can toggle, and you can add, or you can just get to a point where you go, there's this good stuff. And then there's this good stuff. And then there's this good stuff. And then there's this good stuff. And your friends and family go, but the broken stuff! And then there's this good stuff. And then there's this good stuff. And your friends and family go, what's wrong with you? Don't you know there's broken stuff around? Don't you know this is what we talk about? Don't you know this is how we connect and be in relationship to the broken stuff? And we'll backslide, won't we? But eventually, you'll just full attention on what is good and true. I'm speaking to myself, by the way. You can listen in. It's fine. I'm just having a conversation with myself. And then there's a moment where you become just kind of a gentle key word, way shower for your family, for your friends, for your tribe. And believe me, gentle is important. Try to hit them over the head with a baseball bat with what you just learned and see how that works for you, right? Or you just be it, be it, be it. And it becomes the gift you give to the lineage, to your tribe. And I think that's what makes Unity Naples an evolutionary place to be and a revolutionary place to be. Because in this conversation in this room, by the way, I didn't write any of this crap down. So I'm doing my channeling. In this room, in this place, every single week for over 50 years, the consciousness building, consciousness building, consciousness building. You're a part of that, even if you're here for the first time. You're stepping perfectly into an established consciousness that you drew to yourself, and you get to dance with and be interested in and be a part of. Isn't that exciting? So today, we are going to begin the focus on the chakras. And the chakras are, chakra from Sanskrit translates to wheel or disc, but references a spiritual energy center within the human body, of which there are 7 along the spine. Now, if you're kind of a chakra know-it-all, there's many more than 7, I know. But we're going to look at the main 7 for us beginners. And through the neck and the crown of your head. Now, this is what's really cool. The chakra system was actually originated in India between 1500 and 500 BC. So this has got it all over Jesus. This is way before Jesus and the Christian teachings. This is a very, very deep, deep lineage. It's the oldest, it comes from the oldest text called the Vedas. And the Vedas are the earliest Sanskrit literary records and the most ancient scriptures of Hinduism. So chakras come from the most ancient scriptures of Hinduism. One of the beautiful things about Unity is we honor all paths. We look to all paths to glean the same message in different language. So these are the chakras, the base chakras, the root chakra. The sacral is the second, the color is orange. The solar plexus chakra, the color is yellow. The heart chakra, the color is green or pink. We're using green. The throat chakra is blue. The third eye chakra is like an indigo or something like that. We're going to use purple. And then the crown chakra is either purple or white. They kind of change. And this kind of is the spine of your energetic body. That's how I think of it. You have a physical spine of your physical body. Makes sense. You know it. If your physical spine is out of place, you go to the chiropractor, you go to the doctor. Many people will teach, especially chiropractors, that this healthy spine creates the healthy experience in all these different ways, right? That would be true for the chakras, the energetic body. They would say when the spine of the energetic body, the chakras, was lined up and open and flowing, you experience a much healthier experience of life. Now, within these chakras is what is called prana, or the ultimate pure healing energy, and it just kind of glows. That's kind of what Paul Selig would say woke up inside of him. And let me show you a picture of it. Go to the next picture. This is kind of how they describe Kundalini rising. They describe it kind of as a snake that goes up. I've had that experience. I actually had that experience again when I was in Costa Rica last month. And we're doing this breath work experience. And literally, I was like, oh my God, the Kundalini's rising. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. It is a waking up experience. As the Kundalini rises, the chakras open, and Deepak Chopra teaches the idea that these opening of chakras also activates a specific opening in the brain. And so your brain is opening up to the ability to hold more complex concepts. Your brain begins to open up to hold paradox, which is really cool. That's one of the ways you know you're awakening. Suddenly paradox can exist inside you. What is paradox? I can't think of one in this moment. Here's a paradox. Fate and free will. Everything is predestined. Everything is exactly how it's going to be. It's already written. And free will. How could those possibly coexist? There's a paradox in the middle of these two ideas. And when you can entertain the paradox and hold both in your mind, you're waking up and your brain is becoming more expanded, more capable to not solve one over the other, but to have them coexist. Isn't that fascinating? So fascinating. A mind that is less enlightened will argue the two. Their questions will be, well, is there free will or is there predestination and it's already written? Tell me which one it is, right? And if your mind holds both, it's sort of like you do the best you can to explain they coexist. Well, tell me how that's possible. There's a fighting energy in the mind that can't hold paradox. But as you become more and more awakened, as the chakras open up, the brain also opens up and higher laws and higher concepts become available to you to understand, right? All right, so we're going to focus today at the root chakra, which, as I mentioned, is at the base of the spine. And its primary function is to root the spirit securely in the human experience. The emotional issues that live inside the chakra are survival, money, food, shelter. For some people, in their human experience, if those things were hard to find, or as a child, those were uncertain, food, money, shelter, the root chakra will hold within it the fear of that. And you will literally move through life either, very often people sort of do one of two things. They either will keep recreating a life experience where they don't have enough, right? They'll just never be able to pay their bills. They'll never be able to really quite get that home secure. Food will always be hard to find because that's what lives inside their root. Their survival is at risk. Or they'll solve the problem and they'll hoard and they'll really make sure everything in place, but they'll still be doing it from a place of fear. They'll still believe there's not enough. And if they believe there's not enough, then no matter how much they have, they'll still have that fear going. Does that make sense to you? I kind of have that. I have that one. I'm like, oh, there's not enough. There's not enough. I got to make sure there's not, because I come from my family, but I remember my mother, like, payday was obviously Friday because that was a happier day. But Wednesday, Thursday was when you were going through the coin jar, when it was like to get a gallon of milk was like really important, you know what I mean? And there was a pride in my family system of being able to make it through, being able to make it to payday and then do the shopping or whatever to get through the week. So there was a lack in this particular area. Whatever exists within your tribe, because this root chakra is really about your tribe. It anchors inside of it the survival beliefs of your tribe. Whatever's there, that's what is deeply, deeply rooted and is the work for you to do. Now, when I have an actual program, a healing program that I use the chakras, and what came to me through my research and my meditation on this program that I created many years ago when I was at Agape back in Los Angeles was that I lined, and others may have done this by the way, I lined the chakras up with different developmental systems or different time frames of our childhood. So the root chakra is womb to 2 years old. So imagine what exists in this chakra in you. When you're in the womb, from conception, this chakra, imagine that it's absorbing were your parents happy or were your parents not happy together? Was there enough? Were you wanted or were you an oops baby? Now, you know, we know you're not an oops in God, but whatever the parents, whatever was going on there, you absorb, and it becomes also a part of your survival system and your belief about who you are. It's very, very deep. I was the fourth of 4 in a row. My brother's only 11 months older than me, and they didn't have health insurance. I wasn't there consciously, but I don't imagine my parents threw a party when they found out they were pregnant again. I think as an adult, I can kind of figure out that might not have been the happiest day. Here, my mom is trying to take care of 3. They're struggling to do that. And by the way, Mark's coming, right? So, again, interesting, important, could be. Take to the therapy for 3 years, maybe. Or just kind of just go, what's here? That's what's more interesting to me. Because I believe the healing is where we focus, right? So we can sort of get enough information to go, what might be in my survival system? Mine was, I'm not wanted here, so my knee-jerk reaction is to be a little entertainer. I don't know if you've noticed that. I was a little boy, dancer, singer, come on, yada, da, 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 whatever I needed to do to make my presence okay, right? So none of these are conscious, by the way. You're just super brilliant. So you have a part of you that's checking out all of it, taking it all in, and figuring out how you can do best inside of it. Now that system serves you to a certain point, and then as you begin to awaken spiritually and become an adult, there comes a point where I'd say it flips on you. And when it flips on you, it works against you. Isn't that interesting? The very systems of belief that are anchored in your root chakra for survival serve you, I'll give you until your 20s. But then they start breaking down. And if you don't change them, by the time you're in your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s, those survival beliefs that are no longer serving you are going to haunt you. And they're going to be in your way. And they're going to impact the way you're experiencing life. And they're going to dampen your joy if we don't do the work to transform them and bring them up to date and spiritualize them. Are you tracking with me? So this is our opportunity today, really, to start this journey together, really rewriting the script of the root chakra, of what's inside there, the belief systems that aren't serving you. And here's what's most important. And this is, I think it's interesting and fun to analyze our human experience. And go, I come from my parents and their belief systems and the family systems and the tribe and blah, 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 and that's great. But we must remind ourselves over and over and over, what's the actual blueprint inside of you? You come from God. So all of this stuff can be dissolved and overwritten and transformed and rewired the moment you step into the spiritual truth of your being. So that's the other thing. It's like, again, it's interesting to analyze for a while, but you do realize ultimately you're not a human. You are a spiritual being. And the mother, father energy that created your spirit loves you, adores you, no mistakes, survival taken care of, all needs met, abundance flowing, everything. You were birthed from let's use the parent image, the mother, father, spirit. You were birthed from them into a kingdom of support and supply and love and meaning. Wouldn't it be great to know yourself there? The gift of knowing yourself there means you get to live from there in the human experience. It is the words, in the world, but not of the world. I'm moving through this space and time, this dimension of being, but I'm of my spiritual nature. And you move through the world in that knowing. And that's where the miracles begin to happen. And that's where people go, what are you doing? I'm going to listen to Mark Anthony Lord every Sunday. I don't know, it's amazing, right? I'm kidding on that. All right, so coming up, Linda. Linda is our wonderful in-house bowls player. Is that what I can call you?
Sure.
And you're here. Are you here this Wednesday?
Yes, I am.
This Wednesday at 6:30. You can come and do a, well, tell us what it is. A bowl, a gong wash?
It's crystal bowls, and they're alchemy crystal bowls, so I play multiple bowls and various instruments. I have Tibetan bowls. I'm going to bring some crystal pyramids this week, and each of them have a specific note, a specific resonance, and they can be extremely healing on the physical, mental, emotional, all of your bodies, really.
And when they come Wednesday night, will they sit? Do they lie down?
You can do either, but a lot of people like to lie down. So if you have a yoga mat or a pillow, be comfortable.
Yeah.
Come very comfortable, and some people prefer to sit. Depends on how you like to meditate. And they can take you out. They're extremely relaxing.
Yeah. I've never stayed conscious when these things happen. I'm the guy who's like, he's snoring. So anyway, please come check this out on Wednesday, especially during our chakra series. Like, come and check this out. So she's going to play this and create the tone of the root chakra, which is the color red. And I'm going to lead you for a few minutes in a healing experience. Okay, so you are going to go into a meditative state. And just focus on your breath. For this particular chakra, it's helpful to kind of sit up tall and imagine creating space, like sit on your sit bones. Even if you're comfortable and can do it, come to the edge of the seat so you can feel kind of a spaciousness down in the tailbone. And breathe down all the way to the base of the spine. Let your attention be there. And imagine, going to use your imagination a lot, and it will work, don't worry. Imagine a red bulb light, like Rudolph's nose, beginning to go brighter and brighter, like a red bulb. And with each breath and with your attention, it's like there's a heartbeat in the center of the root chakra. And with each beat, it goes brighter, brighter, opening, like a red flower, a rose, opening its petals, reaching out brighter and brighter and brighter, until it becomes like a big red plate, like a flat red disc or a red plate. And imagine it beginning to spin. It doesn't matter the direction, just spin it. And the chakra just spins and spins and spins. And as it spins, the center begins to open and become larger, spinning, spinning, spinning the chakra. And imagine, as it's spinning, pieces of old beliefs that no longer serve are flying off. And they're just going up and they're dissolving as they're released. There's not enough that dissolves and flies out of there. I've got to make it happen. That dissolves and flies out of there. I'm not loved. I don't belong. Let those literally spin off and disappear. As this chakra is spinning, it's purifying itself. You don't even need to know the false beliefs that are anchored in the survival part of you. You can just imagine them dissolving and disappearing. Now, imagine coming straight through your back, a pure beam of white light, like an arrow, a beam of white light shoots through the center of the chakra and comes out the front of you. And a flowing energy of white light is moving through that chakra. It is the light of God. It is the light of spirit. And it is purifying the chakra, dissolving all those false beliefs, all those fear survival ideas within you. Pulling them out, the white light coming through the back and out the front, flowing through. Just imagine this flow of light doing its beautiful work. just for a moment. And just as quickly and easily as that white beam comes through, it begins to pull itself out the back and disappear. The spinning chakra begins to slow down, slower, 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 until it stops, and what is revealed is a beautiful red flower, purified, open, so alive, so beautiful. The root chakra just filled with the luscious red. And for a moment, you're going to give it, this beautiful flower, drops of food. And it's the truth, the affirmations. And imagine this chakra absorbing it as you say this within yourself. I belong to God. Feed that into the root chakra. I belong to God. Mother, Father, God created me in and as love. I belong to God. I matter to God. I am a perfect creation of spirit. All my needs are met in God. Every moment I have more than enough when I trust God. Planting in this root chakra the truth of your sustenance, of your foundation, of your survival. God itself, never ending, always available, here for you. Let yourself awaken in this truth. I am adored by God. I am a part of this beautiful love. I matter. I am cared for. Breathe in these words. Anchor them in this root chakra. Take a nice deep breath. And now imagine the flower closing its petals unto itself like a flower does as the sun goes down. It can remain open a little bit in the center, letting nice, easy energy flow through it. But some people like to close the chakra up a little bit when you're done opening it. And allow your attention to come back into the room. And as you do, I just speak a moment of blessing upon this work, knowing that this was real, that this was good, that this was of spirit, and that each one of us received more than the conscious mind could know. That our willingness to come here and be purified at the foundation of our being, and to remember together that the Mother, Father, God energy is our creator, and we belong to the perfect life tribe, now and forevermore. That this is established. And I welcome all of the new life that is available to us now. This upcoming week will be new for each one of us. And I ask Spirit to keep us anchored in the remembering over and over and over and over and over. I'm created in the image and likeness of God. I belong to this presence and power. I am sustained. I have all that I need and more. I'm planted in the kingdom of heaven. There's no need. There's no want. Mother, Father, God takes care of me now and always, in all ways. Take a breath. Say yes. Say yes. And say yes. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you, Linda.